Hi, it's Anna. Welcome back to Books on the Go. I'm here with a book haul today, and it's mainly books that I found at Adelaide Writers Week and then a couple of gifts. So starting with Niall Williams, Time of the Child, and this is an author, I heard him speak at Writers Week. He's an Irish author. I haven't read him before, but coincidentally another friend the other night when we were out said that a previous book of his was one of their favourite books. So I'm very intrigued to read this. This is set in a fictional town of Faha on the west coast of Ireland, around County Clare, somewhere around there, which is close to my heart because I have sort of ancestry in County Clare. It's about a doctor and his daughter Ronnie, who's unmarried, and he's in this small community, and then just in the lead up to Christmas, a baby is found abandoned on a doorstep, and he and his daughter have to work out what to do about this baby, and the church is involved and the community is judging and gossiping, and what appeals to me is apparently the writing is really warm and well observed and sometimes funny, and Niall Williams read from it when he was at Writers Week, and it sounded almost, I would say, comforting, but obviously it's stronger than just an easy comfort read, but just a really sort of warm hug of a book. And it's been blurbed by Anne Patchett. Karen Joy Fowler wrote, a powerful pleasure to find myself back in Faha, where the prose is luminous, the people irresistible, the stories mesmerising, and it never stops raining, which I thought was a great blurb. And on blurbs, I saw Simon & Schuster, I think it is, have said they're no longer going to require blurbs on books, or they think it's become, people don't mean what they say in the blurbs, and it's such an exhausting process getting all the authors to write these blurbs, and there's no need for them. But I quite like a blurb because I find the author who's giving their name to it, you know, if they like the book, and Karen Joy Fowler's not an example because I haven't read her, but Anne Patchett, for example, if Anne Patchett likes it, that gives me a sense that it might be something that I would enjoy. So I find blurbs quite useful, so I'll be interested to see if they do get rid of them altogether. But anyway, this just sounds really delightful and set in Ireland, and the idea that it never stops raining, I love it. It sort of makes me want to go to Ireland. And I'm loving Irish fiction at the moment. So that's Niall Williams' Time of the Child. And then Memorial Days by Geraldine Brooks, and she's an Australian author who lives between Martha's Vineyard and I think Sydney, and she's written several books, including Horse, which was highly awarded a couple of years ago, which I haven't read. And this is a memoir based on her husband who passed away I think 3 years ago, and she didn't have time to grieve at the time because she was thrown into this period of activity and things that she had to do. And then she took herself to an island called Flinders Island off the coast of Tasmania, and I think that's where she wrote this book, or that's where the idea started. So we're reading this for the Adelaide Writers Week Book Club, so I'll be curious. I think she's a brilliant writer who I've never read, so I'll be curious to discover her. Maybe, I don't know if this will be the ideal first book to read, but I'm intrigued, and it's not too long, and it should be interesting. So that is Memorial Days. And then an exciting new re-release, Sea Green, by Barbara Hanrahan, and this is introduced by Laura Elizabeth Woollett. This is being published by Pink Shorts Press, which is a new publisher that's just launched in Adelaide, and this is a reissue of a book that was published in 1974. So it reminds me a bit of the Persephone model, where they bring back to life forgotten authors or iconic women authors from years ago and do these beautiful new editions. But I think they're also publishing new work, and they'll be doing 8 to 12 releases a year, I think. So very exciting to have a new publisher, and this one sounds really good. It's Barbara Hanrahan, who was an Australian author and artist, so she's had I think many of her artworks are held by the National Gallery of Australia in Canberra, and she lived between Adelaide and London, and she died, I think, in 1991. I haven't read her work before. This was first published in 1974, and it's about a woman called Virginia who leaves Adelaide to go and pursue a creative life in London. So it's based partly on Barbara Hanrahan's experiences, I think, but it's also been compared with Shirley Hazzard, and I think they were writing at a similar time, and I love Shirley Hazzard's work, and The Transit of Venus is one of my favourite books, which was published around about this similar time to this in the 1970s. So I'm really curious, and it's just such a beautiful edition of it. So that is Sea Green. I'll let you know how I go with that one. That could be good for Aussie April, I think. And here's my Adelaide Writers Week postcard, and then a couple of gifts. So very exciting. My friend Gennaro gave me from Matilda Bookshop, which is a gorgeous bookshop in the Adelaide Hills. He gave me Berlin Noir by Philip Kerr, which has the 3 novels March Violets, The Pale Criminal, and A German Requiem. And this was recommended, I think, by Vaseem Khan on our podcast episode where we talked about a good crime series and his Malabar House series. And he recommended Philip Kerr, who sadly has passed away a couple of years ago, but wrote this amazing series, which I haven't read yet, set in Berlin with the detective or ex-police officer Bernie Gunther, who becomes a private detective in 1930s Berlin. And I think he also goes to Vienna. So it sounds fantastic, sort of dark, well researched, because he had a huge interest in history. So apparently there's a lot of detail, but it's also really pacey, and just one of those great series that I haven't yet discovered. So I'm really looking forward to that, and just feeling like I'm heading to Berlin. So that should be fun, and a gorgeous cover as well. So that's Berlin Noir. And then Kate Slotover from the London Book Club Review podcast very kindly gave me this beautiful folio edition of a book that I had coincidentally spotted that day in the bookshop, and I hadn't bought it, Diary of a Provincial Lady by E.M. Delafield. And this is another one that's been reissued, but it's from, oh gosh, I don't know when it's from. I want to say 1800s. It could be, but I actually don't know. I'll see if I can find out. But Diary of a Provincial Lady. So I think it's an actual diary of E.M. Delafield. And this one has an introduction by Jilly Cooper. It sounds fantastic. I've read just a page, and it's really witty, really dry. And I think it's full of all the details of life of this lady, E.M. Delafield, but very on point. And I think that the beauty of diaries, if they're well done, is you actually get this portrait of a character, and you see a real arc of the character when they're done well, and that can be so, that's really interesting. But Kate thought it would be a good follow-up from, we were reading the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon by Beth Brower. So in a similar tone of that. Jane Austen was another comparison, but witty and observant women writers from the, I'm saying 1800s. Jane Austen was earlier, but around that time, should we guess? So Diary of a Provincial Lady, I'm really looking forward to that one. Thank you, Kate. And that is my book haul for March so far. I've still got a few on my bookshelf to finish as well. So let me know what you've been reading, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.